Welcome back. Time now for Hugh's Views. Senate Leader McConnell's concerns over keeping his party's majority shock anyone. And one would think even McConnell's fiercest critics, even Steve Bannon, would want there to be a Republican majority for confirming judges and perhaps Supreme Court justices come 2019 and 2020. But you know who else might want that GOP majority to endure? Big tech. That's who. If you haven't noticed, big tech, Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Twitter in particular, but Apple, Microsoft, Snapchat, and Instagram as well, they are all under increasing scrutiny and some outright calls for regulation, like the public utilities or railroads or airplanes. GOP House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy opened the door to just such a move on this show last month. Should the House Intel Committee look into establishing a new agency to regulate big tech just for national security within the confines of the First Amendment, but to make sure that these big Silicon Valley companies keep America's security at the center of their agenda?
I'm always concerned about security. I'm also concerned about the First Amendment. I never want to tramp on the First Amendment's ability. I first want to have all the facts. I notice it woke up Twitter, it woke up Facebook, but I want to let the hearings go through.
Now, House Speaker Paul Ryan wasn't so agreeable when he and I discussed this issue also on this show. Last week I had Kevin McCarthy on this program, and we talked about Twitter and Facebook and Google. They are the big three. They're very powerful. They're very private. Is it time to look whether or not either the Antitrust Division or a new agency has to get some control over them?
Yeah, what I find with technology and antitrust laws, technology moves so fast that something that seems like a behemoth today could be disrupted and replaced tomorrow. Look at taxi cabs and Uber. Look at the way technology churns. So if you spend your time trying to stop big firms from being big, you'll end up actually, I think, slowing down economic growth and development. So these firms will probably be replaced in some future day by some disruptive technology, and that's the kind of economic vitality we want in our free enterprise systems.
And to underscore what I just showed you, the regulatory skepticism, neither was Leader McConnell quick to call for regulatory hammers to fall on big tech.
Yeah, I think that's not good. And, I mean, they ought to be more interested in cooperating when you have a clear law enforcement issue, more interested in cooperating with law enforcement than they have been. I'm a little skeptical of these disclosure-type proposals that are floating around, which it strikes me would mostly penalize American citizens trying to use the Internet and to advertise.
Now, the Republican leadership might be skeptical of regulation, but there are voices demanding closer looks at this problem. In fact, anyone who has read this book, Franklin Foer's World Without Mind, The Existential Threat of Big Tech, is troubled, deeply troubled, over the size, power, and the secrecy of big tech, as well as at least their initial indifference to manipulation by countries hostile to the United States. It is the GOP that is the natural opponent of governmental regulation. Mitch McConnell, who is the Senate's fiercest defender of free speech, in fact. So here's the irony. Big tech's biggest friends on the Hill are all Republicans. That's right. The liberals and lefties running Twitter and Facebook turn out to serve their shareholders best if they work to keep a Republican majority in place in 2018 while they clean up their own act and set their own house in order before, say, a group of regulation-loving lefties arrive in Congress led by a returned Speaker Pelosi and Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Then big tech won't have the anti-administrative state GOP watching their back. That's quite the irony, but it's true. Silicon Valley's best friends are all Republicans. That's it for this week. I'm Hugh Hewitt. Keep the conversation going on MSNBC.com/Hugh Hewitt, and see you next week on Saturday morning right here on MSNBC.